We're reading statements made by staff who deal with universal credit claimants when they were interviewed by researchers. Universal credit was meant to simplify the system. It was said that a simpler system would reduce the scope for fraud, error, and overpayments.
So that the right payment would be paid to the right person at the right time.
But the impact, it's been horrendous.
People are telling us that they want to kill themselves, that they're going to hand the children over to social services because they can't afford to feed them.
What can you say to someone who says that to you?
There's more demand now and the system can't cope. So folk kept waiting longer. There's more awkward phone calls. People are more annoyed and angry when they do finally get through.
They reckon about 1 million people have had to apply for universal credit because of the pandemic. And that's going to get worse.
You can feel the pressure and the stress that people are under.
It's upsetting because you want to try and help. And you know what they're saying is true.
What can I do? I don't want them to be angry with me. I wouldn't choose to put them through it.
I understand that when they get to me, I'm the first actual flesh and blood person that they've seen. It really is awful. I can't remember the last day that I looked forward to going to work.
How do you think it makes you feel when you're working in a system like this? I mean, I can't change the system, and I try to be as sympathetic as possible. But, well, I'm powerless.
It's true. It's true. But getting shouted at for something you've got no control over, it can get really wearing.
That additional £20 really makes a big difference to people. It's not much, and it's not permanent either. I mean, making that permanent would be a good first step to give people a bit of relief too.
I voted for Labour because Corbyn said that the system was rotten. He was right. But I'm not sure what Labour policy is now. You'd hope that anyone interested in people would see how bad this is. What are we doing?
Universal credit causes financial insecurities because of the delays in the payments. But there's a 5-week delay inherent in the whole system. I mean, some people just have difficulty managing a monthly budget.
And then there are deductions for hardship payments and historical overpayments of tax credits.
Everyone's scared to death. It's just horrific. It's setting people up to fail.
I would like the DWP to listen more. It seems that unless the media get hold of something and really run with it, nothing ever gets done.
It's absolutely life-changing for some people. And there's a terror around that.
We have people who ring us up and say, I'm going to kill myself. You know?
We get suicide threats a lot. People who were unable to help.
I really do worry for the future of our clients.
It's probably costing more money than it's saving because of the impact it's having on society.
Health just spirals out of control because of these wider determinants of health.
People are being forced to do things that make their health worse. And that costs the NHS more. And then they reach crisis point. When actually, they weren't in a too bad a position when they started.
How much pressure is there on the NHS? If, let's say, a sanction saves a DWP £1,000, how much is that costing the NHS? Is it costing them £10,000 because you have a hospital admission because of it? It's very short-sighted.
Universal credit is definitely not a benefit to be lived on. It's not really a livable income.
If you can't feed yourself, you're not going to be wanting to do a job search. And if you haven't got the bus fare, how are you going to get to a job anyway?
It does feel like they're punishing people for being poor.
It's as if you are on benefits, you're not entitled to any quality of life.
Seems to be government policy at the moment punishing people for being poor.
It's not a safety net anymore. It's almost like it's been being used as a stick to beat people with.
People spent so much of their time trying to survive that there's nothing left to look for work. It's just completely counterproductive. Financially persecuting people is not going to achieve your aim of getting them back into employment.
Children are losing out because of child poverty and because the parents are too preoccupied with putting bread on the table. And there's yet another generation of children brought up in an atmosphere of fear, anxiety. Kids can't feel secure if the parents don't.
The two-child limit has a substantial impact on child poverty.
There is an exemption to the 2-child rule if the second child is a result of rape. But how bad is that? How intrusive is that to have a woman disclose rape in order to feed her children?
You're banging your head against a brick wall to get to the bottom of it.
There's no compassion, there's no mercy, nothing.